HJR0797. You're recognized, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee. House Joint Resolution 797 is a constitutional amendment which simply states that a member who is expelled from office under Article 2, Section 12 of the Constitution of Tennessee under this section without resignation on or after January the 1st, 2027 is not eligible to hold a seat in or be employed by either the House or the House or the General Assembly. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I renew my motion.
Thank you, Chairman Powers. We have testimony requested here on this bill, and we're going to ask at this time if she would like to continue. Would you still want? Okay. We have, I think, Ms. Fluharty that's coming forward for testimony. You know the routine, name, and we have three. Of course, need I remind you not? We're going to go out of session, and you have 3 minutes, ma'am. You're recognized.
Thank you. My name is Macy Fluharty. I'm a Tennessee Davidson County resident. This piece of legislation, much like its twin bills, is overkill. This last month, I spoke against HJR0796, an incredibly similar resolution to this. And before that, a bill was passed in this committee, which was also eerily similar to this resolution. I hope this committee listened to my testimony against HJR0706 well, because it applies to this resolution as well. There is a small difference between this resolution and HJR0706, which is the time frame in which a member can be reelected back into their seat. In the previous resolution, an expelled member would need to wait 4 years to return. This would give that member time to work on themselves, specifically on what contributed to their expulsion. However, in this resolution, that time frame is taken away completely, making it impossible for an expelled member to be reelected. This would effectively override the will of the people. We choose who we want in office. We do not choose their expulsion. Representative Pearson previously asked me what these types of proposals do to the justice movement that is rising in Tennessee. These types of bills show Tennesseans that our vote doesn't matter, especially under the new House rules, seemingly making it easier to expel our representatives. These types of legislation probably contribute widely to our poor voter turnout. Fortunately, I have also seen the pettiness of such legislation light a fire under some people. Some Tennesseans are genuinely frustrated that this legislature aims to control who may be allowed to represent them when they see how vindictive this supermajority can be. The frustration will hopefully drive people to the polls and vote this resolution down, but I will say it for a third time. I worry that voter suppression and Tennessee's depressing political climate will deter voters from showing up, especially when legislation like this shows us how little that vote may matter in the future. We do not need 3 pieces of legislation that all override voters in their choices for representation. What we need is a legislature that will accept accountability and will work alongside all of their colleagues despite their identifying party, not make it easier to expel and remove them from office completely. This bill is overkill, it is petty, and voting for it would be too. Please vote no.
All right, questions to Ms. Fluharty? Yes, Representative Pearson.
Thank you, Chairman. And Ms. Fluharty, thank you for coming up and just being an advocate and consistently showing up at the People's House, at this chamber, and for your advocacy. One of the things that you mentioned that I really think is important, and the question that I have for the sponsor, is related to voter suppression, because it seems to invert the authority of who gets to select the people who serve here. And so could you just expound a little bit on how you are processing
Ms.
that?
Fluharty?
You said like how I'm processing like voter suppression coming out. It's frustrating personally for me. I've been active in our community for a while, and I still have friends that say they don't want to come out to vote. It's largely contributed to the way our legislature works, I believe. People just don't see the point in voting anymore if their vote is going to be overturned or ignored. And it stems down to people don't even want to show up in the legislative process because they feel that turns down their voice as well.
Representative Pearson,
follow up. Thank you for not letting it turn down your voice and for consistently showing up, and hope that encourages other people too. Appreciate you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any further questions to Ms. Fluharty? I see none. All right. Well, thank you, ma'am. Appreciate you being here with us.
Thank you.
All right. We are now, whoops, there we are. We're now back in session. And on top of the list, Representative Pearson,
Yeah.
you're recognized.
Thank you so much, Chairman. Sponsor, could you just explain why you think this bill will be beneficial to our constituents?
Chairman
Or
Powers.
this amendment?
Yes, the reason I think it would be beneficial is because if you've ever been expelled for any reason, whether it's financial or sexual misconduct or financial misconduct, any other thing that might be egregious to our House and actually embarrass the House of Representatives and go against the decorum, then I think that once you're expelled, it's a very high bar to be expelled. It takes 2/3 of the chamber of whichever you're expelled from, and it's just a very high bar. And if it's something that egregious, then I don't think that I think that should make you ineligible to serve again.
Representative Pearson.
Thank you, Chairman. I've been expelled from this legislature. I was reappointed by my Shelby County Commission. I was reelected with 94% of the vote from my constituents who watched the expulsion hearings. But the people who matter, the people who elect us to these positions, voices, is what matters. The people who expect for us to advocate, to lift up their voices when things are going wrong, like that is what we are supposed to do as legislators. Now, if this body says something that a legislator does is out of decorum and they expel the legislator, which is the most significant penalty possible for a member or to happen to a member, I do not believe it is right or it is just to now put those same ideologies, those same retaliatory emotions and feelings on our ballots as it relates to changing our Constitution. For over 200 years, our Constitution's expulsion clause has existed in the way that it has. And I believe that the folks who did found this country and who wrote that, I think they were right. I believe that this constitutional amendment, Representative, is retaliatory. I believe that it targets two majority black and people of color districts. And I believe that it falls in line, unfortunately, with the very racist history. I believe that this constitutional amendment, it is a knee-jerk reaction to what this legislature did to Representative Jones's community and to my community in District 86. The things that you mentioned are financial impropriety. One of the individuals who was expelled from this body committed bribery, which is an actual crime. You mentioned sexual misconduct. Another member of this body who was expelled committed 22 acts of sexual misconduct. Representative Jones and I, Representative Johnson, went to the well of the House floor because gun violence is the #1 killer of children in our state. That is why we were ultimately breaking decorum and ultimately why we were expelled. This is related to the bill, colleagues.
Yes, okay.
We're talking about decorum. We're talking about expulsions. I've been expelled.
Yeah.
So how is it not related to the bill? And I'm the only one up here
No, go ahead
who's
and
ever
continue,
been expelled.
please. I'm just looking at the clock. Go right ahead, sir.
Thank you,
please.
Chairman. Thank you. Because other folks who voted to expel me are now telling me I can't talk about being expelled because we advocated against gun violence. So I think the other issues that you mentioned, if you had an amendment that said if you committed sexual misconduct, if you committed financial impropriety, if you committed an actual crime that you could go to jail for, that I might understand. But speaking up on behalf of our constituents is not a crime. Advocating that we do something about gun violence is not a crime. That is why I do not support this amendment. That is why I think it's retaliatory. That is why I think it is racist. That's why I think it is immoral. That is why I think that this is wrong. And so that is why I will also not vote for this constitutional amendment. I encourage my other colleagues not to as well.
All right, thank you, sir. And Representative Miller, you're recognized, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, could we go in recess? I have a couple of questions for the...
For legal?
For legal.
Of course we
Yes.
can. If there's no objections, we will. We are now out of session, and we will defer to our counsel. And counsel, you do not have to, I might remind you, you do not have to remind yourself. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, we're gonna. Representative Miller, you're recognized, sir.
Yes, thank you. To legal. Legal, as I read the language, this is not with an amendment, but the proposed amendment to Section 10, 12, 15 of Constitution of Tennessee, prohibiting a member expelled from the General Assembly on or after January 1st, et cetera. This is very broad in the sense that a member can be expelled for criminal or non-criminal reasons or for any reason whatsoever. Is that true?
Mr. Mundy.
Thank you, Matt Mundy. For the record, under Article 2, Section 12, it says each House may determine the rules of its proceedings, punish its members for disorderly behavior, and with the concurrence of 2/3, expel a member. I believe that it's within the jurisdiction of the House. It's the House's prerogative to determine what constitutes grounds for expulsion.
Representative Miller.
So again, trying to understand that you can be expelled for non-criminal purposes and reasons.
Mr. Mundy.
Yes, I believe that's correct.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And I'm sorry. Yes. What?
Second question.
One more. Yes.
Can, in fact, this committee and or the General Assembly vote for and pass a constitutional amendment that is unconstitutional?
Representative Mundy, or excuse me, Mr. Mundy.
Thank you for the question, Matt Mundy from Legal. No, I do not believe that this particular resolution will be unconstitutional because we are, in fact, amending the Constitution.
5 minutes. I'm not trying to be
Yes.
disrespectful.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Chairman.
you, sir.
I'll catch it in the next
Thank you for
committee.
your cooperation. Now, while we're still out, yes, Representative Powell to legal. Is that correct?
Yeah, to legal. So just to be clear, because I know you read that, it's possible for a member, because we heard some discussion, some different crimes and other things were being discussed, but essentially a member of the General Assembly can be expelled for basically whatever reason 2/3 of the members see fit to expel that member. Is that correct?
Mr. Mundy.
Thank you, Matt Mundy. For the record, the expulsion is contingent on punishing a member. It is an extraordinary step for disorderly behavior. I think it would have to fall within that language, punish its members for disorderly behavior.
Representative Powell.
I guess just a follow-up. So say, I know some of my other colleagues up here, one time we had to leave the chamber for our own reason. We were upset and wanted cooler heads to prevail. So my party decided to leave the chamber. Multiple members in this room were part of that. So that could be viewed as disorderly behavior, correct then? And basically all of us could be expelled under this amendment. Would you see that is that possible?
Thank you, Matt Mundy. For the record, I don't think that it's probably my position to speculate on what a House would determine to be disorderly behavior or not.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Powell. All right, 3 minutes, folks. 3 minutes now. To you, while we're still out of session, Chairman Leatherwood, are you still to legal or not? No. He says no. All right. Any further questions? None. All right. Clock's running. Okay, we're back in now. Yes, Chairman Powers, you are recognized, sir.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And due to time, I will not elaborate on some of the comments that were made, but I will just say it's a very high bar, 2/3 of the vote this year in this particular General Assembly, and then 2/3 of the vote next year, and 50% plus one in the next general election 2 years from now on the ballot, so the public will get to vote on this too. And with that, I renew my motion.
Okay, Chairman renews his motion. And okay, Representative Powell, did I understand you? Did you quickly? Yes.
I guess this is a technical thing.
Yes.
Constitutional amendment, it only has to pass with 50 this year and then 2/3 in the following General Assembly, correct? Because
Do we need
what
to
I
go
think
back?
you just stated is incorrect.
Okay. All right, if there's no objection, we're back out of session. Back quickly to legal.
Thank you, Matt Mundy.
Mr.
from
Mundy.
Legal. Yes, that's correct. It would be passed by a majority vote this year. And then the next General Assembly, which would be next year, since we're entering a new one, a new biennial General Assembly, would be a 2/3 vote. And then it would go to the next election in which the governor's up for election, and it would have to be passed by a majority of those voting in an election.
Any further questions, Representative Powell? Quickly, yes, sir. Go. No, you ready? Okay.
Motion to move this to
Okay.
the top of the calendar.
Pardon? Well, we've already got a motion. If we got any further questions now? We need to run back into session. No objection. We're back in session. Now, here we go. We got a call for the question.
I thought I still had the floor. I would move this to summer study.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. I thought I did. Okay. All right. We have a motion. You have heard the motion. This has been referred to summer study. And are there any objections? Yes, we do have objections. That will posture us into a vote. Now, those voting aye will again, as a reminder, this will go to summer study. No, it will not. Simply stated. So, Mr. Clerk, no objections. We're going to vote. All eyes are on you, sir. I'm calling roll call. Yes. Chairman's calling for roll call.
Representative Alexander. Alexander votes no. Representative Bricken. No. Bricken votes no. Representative Butler. No. Butler votes no. Representative Carringer. No. Carringer votes no. Representative Chisholm. Yes. Chisholm votes yes. Representative Dixie. Yes. Dixie votes yes. Representative Haston. Representative Haston. Representative Holsclaw. Holsclaw votes no. Representative Hurt. Representative Hurt. Representative Jernigan. Jernigan votes yes. Representative Johnson of Montgomery. Johnson votes no. Representative Leatherwood. Leatherwood votes no. Representative Littleton. No. Littleton votes no. Representative McCalman. No. McCalman votes no. Representative Miller. Yes. Miller votes yes. Representative Pearson.
For District 86, yes.
Pearson votes yes. Representative Powell. Yes. Powell votes yes. Representative Powers. No. Powers votes no. Representative Rudder. No. Rudder votes no. Representative Terry. No. Terry votes no. Vice Chairman Eldridge. Vice Chairman Eldridge. Chairman Kiesling.
No.
Kiesling votes no. Mr. Chairman, you have 6 ayes, 13 noes.
6 ayes, 13 noes. The ayes prevail. We are now back on the. We already called for the question on the bill. Okay, those in favor of HJR0797, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and that prevails. And you are headed to Finance, Ways, and Means, Chairman Powers, and that